Welcome to the Payback Team Training Call. Today we're going over annuities. We're going to learn what they're for, how to use them, what the benefits are from them, what they are not, and we're going to cover all of that right here. So grab a pen and paper so you can take some notes, and we're going to dive in. First off, what is an annuity? Well, here's the legal definition. I can't memorize it, so I'm going to read it. A legal definition is a contract with an insurance company that offers a way to grow retirement savings based on the performance of market indexes like the S&P 500 without directly investing in the stock market. Okay, that's an annuity. So it's kind of like an IUL in that sense, where the carrier takes the premium payments that you take and invests it in the market, but your money isn't actually in the market. Your money is tied to the actual index. So it takes the money, let me rephrase that just to be clear. So it takes the premium payments that the client pays and invests them in the index. But your money is not technically in the index, it's tied to the index. Hence the reason why it participates in the gains, it does not participate in the losses. Okay, essentially what an FIA is an IRA. FIA stands for fixed indexed annuities. There are also variable annuities. Variable annuities go up and they also go down below zero. We do not sell variable annuities because you need an SEC license for that. You can go get an SEC license if you want to sell them, but we don't. But under your life insurance license, you can sell fixed annuities and fixed indexed annuities. Variable annuities also are actually in the market. They are not tied to the market, they're actually in the market. Fixed annuities are kind of like a dividend, meaning that it throws a dividend payment, a guaranteed interest payment every single year to the client. Usually it may be like 3, 4, 5%, but it's pretty much guaranteed they're going to get that every single year. They're not going to participate in the higher gains, but they won't lose any money either. It's pretty much guaranteed. So those are for people that want a guaranteed return on investment, that are not looking for risky investments whatsoever. They are literally people that just want to get a little bit of something and want to make sure that their money is growing some way, somehow, somewhere. So, okay, for annuities, annuities are not like life insurance in this fact that with life insurance, you can get general training. With annuities, you have to get specific product training directly from the carrier that you're going to sell that annuity from. So if you sell NLG, National Life Group, you need to go there and get product training from those specific annuities. With Athene, you need to get product training from Athene. With F&G, you need to get product training from F&G. Anybody that sells annuities that you want to get trained on, you have to get specifically trained on those specific products. Now, if you're contracted with Athene, I would recommend getting product trained on these 3 products: Performance Elite, Ascent Pro Bonus, and Agility. Okay, it's usually a couple of videos, maybe an hour long, maybe 45 minutes. It's not too long, but you do need to do that with Athene before you write business. Okay, where can you get product knowledge? Well, we kind of went over that a little bit earlier. From the gateway, you can go to Ask a Specialist, but you can go to the carrier websites and get product knowledge right from there, not just from the product specific training, but from the actual product, right? They have brochures in there. They have the bullet points of what each and every product does for the client, but you can also use ChatGPT. That's simple. You can plug into ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever your bot is that you use and type in there, I have a client that is 65 years old, getting ready to retire, has $500,000 looking to protect it from losing money. He wants to grow it for another 5 years and then start taking income. What product from these 3 carriers is the best for this type of client? You could type in something like that into ChatGPT. It'll search the internet, search the products that are available on the internet, and recommend a product to you. Now, will that be the best product? Not necessarily, but it gives you an idea of where to start. You can also call each carrier. Each carrier wants you to sell their products. They have wholesalers. They have people that work directly for us and with us so that we can put our clients in the best position possible. So you can call the carrier directly, talk to one of the wholesalers and tell them your situation, or email them your situation with your client, and they will recommend a product for that specific client. And I recommend doing that, and doing that more than once, because as you build a relationship with these wholesalers, they will literally reach out and bend over backwards to help you, because that's their job. And if they know that you're seeking out information, they will bend over backwards to go above and beyond to help you. Building those relationships with the carriers is super key, okay? When do we want to sell an annuity? Let me get back to my notes here. Well, who qualifies for an annuity, and when do we sell an annuity over an IUL? Now, for me, I am partial to IULs. Why? Because IULs are literally one of the only tax strategies out there that can grow money tax free. But not everybody qualifies for an IUL. If they don't qualify due to health reasons, you may want to look at an annuity for them, okay? If they have a 401k or an IRA, any types of investments like that they want to protect from market loss, never lose money again, those are perfect clients to put into an annuity. They can roll that over into an annuity with no tax implications, with no fees. In fact, most carriers will bonus them for rolling it over. And it's a pretty nice and healthy bonus. Usually it starts at 10%. I've had clients to where we put them into an annuity just for rolling it over. They get a 27% bonus. And if you think of $1 million, a 27% bonus is $270,000. So it's a nice incentive to get them to roll it over into an annuity. So look at annuities for people that have 401ks, IRAs, and we'll talk about some strategies towards the end of the call here that will help you with your clients to help them, so to say, maybe double dip and get a return on an annuity and an IUL. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So back to my notes here. Okay, just covered that. Okay, what are the not so good things about an annuity? Okay, because not every product fits everybody. Not every product is like the best product for that person, right? They may have a 401k, but maybe it's not the best product for that person. They may have an IRA, but maybe it's not the best product for that person. Here's an example. I have a client that is 69 years old. They have an IRA, and all they want to do with that IRA is leave it to their kids when they die. They're not going to use the IRA. They're not going to pull income from the IRA. So where would I put them? Do I put them in an annuity, or do I put them in an IUL? Think about that for a minute. Do I roll it over into an annuity, or do I roll that over into an IUL? Well, I'm going to tell you the answer. I put them in an IUL. Why? Because after getting to know their situation a little bit, I found out that they're farmers and their crop took a huge loss last year. And so they're not going to be paying any taxes because they're taking a large loss. If you want to pay taxes on a product, the best time to pay taxes is when your tax level is at the lowest. Your tax bracket is at the lowest, right? So they mentioned that they also wanted to just leave that behind to their kids. So I recommended, let's take that out of your IRA. Now they're going to pay taxes on that full amount. We calculated the taxes, and then we're going to put the remaining balance into an IUL day one. Now with day one, we're putting it into a deposit account writer, and that's going to allow the carrier to put it in over time. And they're going to give them interest on that. Now, because of that, they're actually rolling over $170,000, and their death benefit when they die is going to be $300,000. So if that client passed away the day after they get approved and made that first payment, now their kids, instead of getting $190,000 that was in the IRA, are now going to get $300,000 tax free. By the way, in an IRA, if the kids got that and inherited that, they would now have to pay the taxes on that. Now, since it's in the IUL, the kids now get a death benefit that is tax free, and it's going to multiply. So that would be a strategy where the fixed indexed annuity would not apply. Okay, so what else is a fixed indexed annuity not good for? Well, if they're looking to save money on taxes, an FIA is not the best product to put them in. Okay, an FIA is essentially an IRA, and so it's deferred tax. Okay, we're going to go over the benefits of an IRA here in a moment, but it's also deferred tax so that when they go to take out income from the fixed indexed annuity, they have to pay income tax on that. Okay, there's also withdrawal fees. The carriers need the money from the client in order to grow their money. If they go in and they start pulling out money right away, it's not going to allow the carrier to be able to grow their money. So the carrier, what they do is they put on withdrawal fees every year for a certain time period, depending on the size of the annuity. If it's a 7-year, a 10-year, a 15-year, if it's a 15-year annuity, they're going to have withdrawal charges for that full 15 years. Okay. Now, most annuities will allow the client to pull out up to 10% of their annuity every year with no withdrawal charges, no fees. They have up to 10% access to their annuity. Now, anything over that 10% triggers the withdrawal charge. And if you look at the illustration, the withdrawal charges go down every year the closer it gets to that deadline year to where they can annuitize. Okay, so if it's a 10-year annuity, there may be a 10% withdrawal charge, and anything over 10% that first year, but it goes down every year until year 10, when then it's zero and clients have full access to their money, or they can annuitize their money and get a guaranteed paycheck for the rest of their life. Okay, there's also, if they want to have access to their money and they're young, let's say they're under 59 and a half, just like a 401k or an IRA, if they access that money before 59 and a half, there could be tax, because it's deferred tax, and a 10% penalty by the IRS on top of that. Okay, there's could be some extra charges that come with the annuity as well. Sometimes those charges can be a good thing. Some annuities will charge a 0.95% to boost the cap up. Okay, there's caps on annuities just like IULs. Some annuities don't have caps. Some of them have participation rates just like IULs. Okay, so there's pluses and minuses to annuities as well. So what are the benefits of an annuity? There's no risk of market loss. Number one benefit. When people are getting into their late 50s and early 60s, what is their major concern? Number one, am I going to have enough money to live off of for the rest of my life? That is their number one concern. Or am I going to have too much life at the end of my money? And people are now, instead of having money in risky investments that can go up and down, they're now taking their money and want to find a investment that will grow and never ever lose money. IULs and annuities are perfect for that because there's no risk of market loss. Zero is your hero. It never goes below zero. Okay. It can be guaranteed lifetime income. If you think of the 401k or an IRA, and you have a client that says, well, I'm just going to leave my money in a 401k, or I'm just going to leave my money in an IRA. And let's say that client, when you talk to them, is 65 years old. And by the time they're 75 or even 80, the market changes. And if you remember in 2008, we had a huge market change. The S&P 500 dropped about 38 points below zero. That means that if you had $1 million in your 401k and it was invested into the S&P, you lost 38%. You're left with now a little over 600,000. And if you're in a 25% tax bracket, just to give you an idea, now you're left with between 475 to 500,000 after taxes since the market dropped, right? What happens if you have your money in a 401k, you're taking income from it, or an IRA, you're taking income from it. You're now 75 years old. You're living this lifestyle that you've built off of your retirement funds, and the market tanks. Now, instead of 500,000, you're left with 250,000 to live off of the rest of your life. Or what if you're getting down to the nitty gritty and the market tanks and now you don't have any money to live off of the rest of your life? Well, that's another benefit of the FIA. FIAs can come with guaranteed lifetime income riders. What does that mean? When they go and they annuitize or they activate the guaranteed lifetime income rider, whenever they hit that button, so to say, that annuitizes or activates the guaranteed lifetime income rider, that income at that point in time now is going to be the same for the rest of their life. Now, it doesn't always have to be the same. It can grow with the market. It can grow with inflation. There's annuities that do that. But the point is that now they have guaranteed lifetime income. And so if they're 85 and the market tanks and all their money in their annuity is gone, they still get the income. They still get the monthly paycheck or the guarantee or the yearly paycheck, however they have it designed, for the rest of their life, no matter if there's money in there or not. That's a benefit for the FIA. They also come with death benefits. So if they pass away, just like your 401k or IRA, that benefit, the remaining balance of their money can go to their beneficiary. They can list a beneficiary on there and that money can go to that beneficiary. Some of the riders that come with annuities, guaranteed lifetime income rider, we talked about that. There's also long-term care and confinement care riders, meaning that if they're diagnosed with a chronic illness or a terminal illness, their income can double depending on their annuity. If they're confined to a living care facility, their income can double so that it'll help pay for that facility. A lot of times it's for a substantial amount of time, maybe 5-6 years, and then their income goes back to whatever it was before the doubling, whatever their regular normal income would be. And they would have that for the rest of their life. But most of the time when people activate that rider, it's because they're kind of on their way out the door. They need extra care because they've had a sickness or an illness. There can be a income enhancement rider. Some annuities come with an income enhancement rider, meaning that once they activate or annuitize, they can activate that rider, which will give them a 25% boost in their income to start off with. They also get a bonus. We kind of talked about that. They get a bonus right off the bat from most carriers just for rolling it over. Not all of them, depending on the annuity, but most of the time it's 10%. NLG has a new product that just came out that gives them a 5% bonus no matter how much they put in over the first 8 years. So that would be great for somebody that doesn't qualify for an IUL, but they want to put money away, right? And they want to add to it. They can add as much as they want to. Every dollar that they put in there over the next 8 years, they're getting a 5% bonus. There's also a cost of living rider on some annuities where it will go up. Their income will go up depending on the cost of living. It's based off the inflation rate. There's also a return of premium rider on some annuities where this ensures that the annuitant or the beneficiaries will receive the actual basis of the annuity, the actual money that they put in there, right? So if they put in 100,000, they leave that in there, and then they put in 100,000 at 65, they leave that in there for 10 years and decide, oh, at 75, I'm going to start taking money. Then they start taking money off the interest, and with the return premium rider, that actual 100,000 that they started it with would go to their beneficiary or the annuitant. And then we talked about the guaranteed lifetime income rider. Okay, moving on here. So where do you find annuity clients? You can find them everywhere. If you start asking the right questions, you can literally find them anywhere. Well, we talked about what an annuity client qualifies as, right? Somebody that doesn't qualify for an IUL, that wants to put money away for retirement. Maybe they want to leave a death benefit. That could be an annuity client. But you can, just by going through your financial inventory when you're talking to clients, you can find other investments. Here's the golden question. And this is important that you write this down so that you guys understand exactly how to ask it and what to ask. You're going to ask them if they have any life insurance. This is not the golden question. Obviously, you're going to ask them if they have any type of life insurance product in place, right? And that could be at work or it could be private, whatever it may be. Then when you get through some of the, their income, what they do for a living, eventually you're going to ask them, what investments do you have that acts as life insurance, like a 401k, IRA, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, CDs, Bitcoin, real estate, and then you just lock it up. Well, I have a 401k. Okay, is that with your current employer or is that with a previous employer? Well, it's with a previous employer. Boom. Your ears should perk up because that's a great client for an annuity. It's not being managed because it's with a previous employer, and they can roll it over into something that it's never going to lose money again anymore. They don't have to be 59 and a half to roll it over. They just have to be 59 and a half to start taking funds from that. There are ways around it to where they could take funds before 59 and a half, but that's diving down the rabbit hole. We'll talk about that some other day. Okay, so let me go over that question again so you guys understand it. What investments do you have that acts as life insurance that would go to a beneficiary when you die? Like a 401k, an IRA, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, CDs, Bitcoin, real estate. That's the golden question. That's going to open up the alternative investments that they have so that you know where to place them. Now, if they have a 401k with their current employer, I always ask them, are they matching you? And if they say no, your ears should perk up. If they say yes, say, okay, how much are they matching you? Well, they're matching me about 4%. Okay, how much are you putting into that? Okay, I'm putting in 10%. If they're putting in over the match, you can say, okay, most of my clients like to put in just the amount of the match and then take those other funds and put it someplace else. That could be an IUL. If they qualify, could be an annuity if they don't qualify for health purposes. But that's how you find the money. Now, if they're under 59 and a half, a lot of times if it's with their current employer, they can't touch the money because the employer will keep it there. And on top of that, they can't take it out because they're under 59 and a half. They can, legally they can, but they're going to be charged an extra 10%. Most of the time it's not worth it. But if they're over 59 and a half, still working for the current employer, they can move that money out and put it into a fixed indexed annuity. They just need to have their employer sign off on it. But it's really up to the client on what they need to do. If they see the value of the fixed indexed annuity, most of the time it's a no-brainer because they're going to get paid to do it. There's no fees, there's no tax implications, and they're never going to lose money again. And what I mean by paid to do it is the carrier is going to give them a nice bonus just to roll it over. Okay. Then what you're going to do in the financial inventory, and this is where most agents fail, is you ask them, do you contribute to a savings account every month? Yes, I do. Okay. Most people skip over the savings account, and you guys are leaving money on the table, and you're not helping your client 100% by missing this question. If you ask them, do you have a savings account? Here's the problem. Most agents will get shy of asking these questions. They feel like they're impeding on somebody's personal space, right? But you're the agent. You're there to help the client. You're on the phone because the client needs help and they want help. So you need to ask the questions, the right questions, and feel comfortable with it. And if the client doesn't feel comfortable with asking or giving you the answers, then they're not going to be your client. Move on to the next one. No big deal. Not a problem. I've had clients tell me, well, I don't know you, am not going to give you this information. Well, no problem, sir. That's why I sent you the link to the website that has all of my licenses from all 50 states on there so that you can verify every single one of them. We have to be background checked federally and statewide. And I'm pretty sure that, if the carriers are okay with me selling their product, then you should probably be okay with me recommending something to you because you reached out to me. But if you're not comfortable with that, I totally understand. You might want to find another agent that can help you because I can't help you if you don't give me the information that I need, right? You just be direct with these people, and a lot of times they'll give you the information that you need. But the question is about the savings account is this. Do you contribute to a savings account every month? Just a regular savings? Yes, I do. Okay, how much do you normally put in? A couple $100. Okay, here's the key question. If you were to look in there on today's Wednesday, if you were to look in there on any given Wednesday, how much would be in there? Boom, your ears should perk up. Okay. Some people have money in their savings account that nobody knows about. That money in their savings account is not gaining them any interest whatsoever. None. 0.01. That's like none, right? Because inflation is taking their money out of their savings account. If you have $100,000 in a savings account and inflation's 2.5%, they're losing $2,500 a year. But they're getting paid from the bank, the savings account interest, right? Yeah, 0.1%. That's like $1 from 100,000. That's nothing. So they're losing money. And so that information is valuable because now you can recommend, well, if you're building an IUL, you can say, okay, I understand some of that is probably for emergency purposes, but most of my clients want that money to grow for them. Would you be interested in putting half of that or 3/4 of that, maybe even all of it, into a IUL so that it would grow for you, or a fixed indexed annuity so that it can grow for you and never lose money again? And you'd be surprised at the response. Yeah, definitely. Okay, how much would you be comfortable with? Probably half, or they'll say 10,000, or they'll give you a number. But it's something that you can help them with, right? So the savings account is the big one that most people forget. Okay. One last thing I wanted to go over here, and then we're done. Here's a strategy that I like to use for people that are interested in an IUL, okay? And let's say they have a 401k or an IRA. This is a really cool strategy. It's kind of like double dipping. If we were to roll over the IRA or 401k into an FIA, let's say they're 60 years old. They're over 59 and a half. And they have 500,000 in their 401k that they've built up over the years. They can roll that over into an FIA, and if they roll that over and the carrier pays a bonus, let's say it's a measly 10%, which is pretty low, but let's say it's 10%, they're going to get $50,000 day one dropped into their FIA, okay? Now what they can do is take that money and help support by building up their IUL. They have access to 10% of their money every single year, right? 10% of 555,000 is 55,000. What would happen if they were to take a portion of that, not 55,000, but let's say they take 12,000 of that day one and put that into an IUL? That's $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year. Now that money is growing tax-free. They have access to 55,000. They only took out 12,000. So really they only took out maybe 3%. And if that FIA grows at 8%, they still get a 5% spread on their money. Now they're going to take that and put it into an IUL, and let's say the IUL grows at 6%. Now, on both of them, they're earning 11%. But here's the other benefit. With the with the IUL, They get a death benefit to protect their family, which they also do in the FIA, so they get 2 death benefits. They also get living benefits to protect them if they get hurt, sick, or injured. And all of the growth from that can grow tax-free. And the IUL is more liquid. After a year, they can pull out all of the money from the surrender cash value, even though they're going to compound interest on the accumulated cash value. So no money can be in there. I don't recommend them taking out all of it, but let's say they take out 75% of it. So what? They're still compounding interest on the accumulated value that it grows over time, and it's growing tax-free. So that's one of the strategies that we can use to help out clients. They're double dipping. They're earning on average 10 to 11%. Now, those are low numbers. Let's say the market's doing really well and some of their allocations are not capped, and they get 15% in the annuity and they get 15% in the IUL. That's going to be one happy client a year from now. And when you do a policy review with them, what do you think they're going to want to do? They're going to want to tell all their friends about that after they see the growth in their product. And you have a client for life. And when they recommend friends and family to you, you're going to do the same thing with them. Go through the financial inventory, figure out how you can best help them, and then put them in a product that can best help them. Okay, so that's a fixed indexed annuity. I hope that helps everybody. I hope that provided value. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you, Shawn.